so the next concept is an arc. An arc is an unbroken part of a circle that consists of 2 points on a circle and all the points on the circle between them. So basically what that's saying is, let's say we have this central angle up here. This point right here is on the circle. This point right here is on the circle. And this whole stretch of points that connects those 2 points, that would be the arc. So it's a part of the circle. An arc is a part of the circumference. So if you think of the circumference as the distance around the circle, the arc is like a portion of the circumference. It's a part of the circle. It connects 2 points and all the points between them. The measure of an arc is equal to the measure of the central angle. So this is kind of a confusing concept for people because they think that measuring an arc would be like measuring the length, which we'll do that later. It will be called arc length. The measure of an arc is equal to the measure of the central angle. Think about, how do you measure an angle? You measure an angle in degrees. So if the measure of an arc is the same as the measure of the central angle, the measure of the arc is also going to be in degrees. So the measures of those arcs are in degrees. So there's 3 types of arcs based off of their measures. So the first type is called a minor arc. A minor arc is an arc whose measure is somewhere in between 0 and 180 degrees. So it's greater than 0, less than 180. And it's the shortest possible arc to connect 2 endpoints on a circle. So for example, if I had the circle C, I have these 2 points A and B, the shortest way to connect point A and point B would be along this minor arc. The longest way would be this blue route right here. So this is the shortest way to connect those 2 points. And the way that you name a minor arc is with the 2 endpoints letters. So if I had put a point right here, let's call it D, or let's call it E actually. I could also call this arc AEB, or I could call it BEA, or I could call it arc BA. So the third letter is there just for extra clarification, but for a minor arc you only have to use 2 points, the 2 endpoints of the arc. But if you want to include a middle letter, you can, if you want to be like more specific. But if you ever see an arc that is named with only 2 letters, you can automatically know it has to be a minor arc. We only name minor arcs with the 2 letters. So if it's an arc with 2 letters, it cannot be a major arc. That doesn't mean that just because something has 3 letters means it's automatically a major arc. You still have to go look at your circle and double check and see like what arc it's representing. So in this example, this arc AEB, even though it has 3 letters, is a minor arc. And so the measure of arc AB, this minor arc right here, is going to be equal to the measure of that central angle. And that central angle is angle ACB. The measure of the arc, which is in degrees, is the same as the measure of that central angle, the measure of angle ACB, which in this picture is also X. So those are all equal. A major arc is an arc whose measure is greater than 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. It's in between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. So it's more than half of a circle. It's the longest arc that connects 2 endpoints on a circle. So the longest way to get from point A to point B would be along this major arc. And notice, I'm going to have to pass through point D to get from A to B. Or if I'm going from B to A, I would have to pass through point D. So when you're naming a major arc, you will always use 3 points, because if I just called this arc AB, that would be the minor arc, the short distance from A to B. So I have to give that 3rd point to clarify, oh, I'm going from A through D to B, or I'm going from B through D to get to A. So a major arc will always have 3 letters, in its name. And this major arc is going to be the same as this central angle. We know that all the way around the circle is 360 degrees. So if we know the measure of arc AB, the measure of arc ADB is just going to be 360 minus whatever the measure of arc AB was. Or if you're thinking about the central angle, it would be 360 minus x to get the leftover angle. A semicircle is a arc that has a measure of exactly 180 degrees. It is exactly half of a circle. So a semicircle will have 3 letters in its name, and its measure will be exactly always 180 degrees. A semicircle's endpoints are the endpoints of the diameter. So if I told you, like, oh, this is the diameter, you would automatically know, oh, well, that arc is a semicircle. If you know that the endpoints of the arc are the diameter passing through the center of the circle, then you can automatically assume it's a semicircle. So semicircle's endpoints are on the diameter, and its measure is exactly 180 degrees, which makes sense because all the way around the circle is 360 degrees, and 360 divided by 2, half of that is 180. So it makes sense why its measure is 180 degrees.